April 28, 2017, should have been the day the sun rose over a pristine Bahamian beach, but instead it illuminated a desert of white tents and a handful of wilted lettuce leaves, the stark remnants of what was promised as the world's most exclusive music festival. The name on every ticket read, Fyre Festival, and the price tag, up to $12,000 for a luxury experience, promised private villas, gourmet meals, and performances by the biggest names in pop. What attendees received was a chaotic scramble for sand, a meager spread of cheese sandwiches, and a reality that would soon become a cautionary tale of modern fraud. Billy McFarland, a 26-year-old entrepreneur from New York, had built his reputation on a string of short-lived ventures, from a sneaker resale app to a nightlife brand called Magnizes. In early 2017, he partnered with rapper Ja Rule to launch Fyre Festival, positioning it as a curated, ultra-exclusive getaway for influencers, celebrities, and the Instagram elite. The promotional video, directed by a former Apple advertising executive, showed models lounging on white sands, sipping champagne and dancing under neon lights. It went viral in a single day, and within weeks the event sold over 30,000 tickets, generating an estimated $26 million in revenue before the first wave of tickets even left the box office. The festival's foundation, however, was a house of cards built on inflated promises and a glaring lack of logistics. McFarland's team secured a lease on Great Exuma, a remote island with limited infrastructure, and promised to erect 5,000 villas, each with a private pool and a personal butler. In reality, the island had no reliable power grid, only a single runway capable of handling small charter planes, and a handful of local contractors who were never paid. The budget, initially projected at $30 million, ballooned to over $100 million, a figure McFarland could not cover. To keep the illusion alive, he turned to a series of high-pressure tactics. He offered investors guaranteed returns, fabricated documents, and even forged a contract with a well-known festival production company that was never signed. The first warning signs appeared when the festival's advertised headliners, Rihanna, Beyoncé, and The Weeknd, publicly denied any involvement. Social media influencers who had been invited to preview the site posted videos of unfinished wooden structures, exposed wiring, and a lack of basic sanitation. As the December 28, 2017 kickoff approached, panic set in. Attendees arrived by private jets expecting private villas, only to be greeted by rows of disaster relief tents. The catering consisted of a single catering truck serving sandwiches with cheese, lettuce, and a sprinkle of herbs. The promised live performances never materialized. Instead, a handful of local DJs played on a makeshift stage while the crowd's disappointment turned into a near-rioting frenzy. Within hours, the event collapsed. The island's limited resources were overwhelmed, and dozens of guests were stranded with no transportation home. Emergency flights were scrambled, and the Bahamian government opened an investigation into the chaotic operation. In the days that followed, McFarland vanished, leaving a trail of unpaid vendors, broken contracts, and a flood of lawsuits. Federal authorities moved quickly. In March 2018, the Southern District of New York charged Billy McFarland with multiple counts of wire fraud, securities fraud, and aggravated identity theft. Prosecutors presented a damning picture. McFarland had raised over $27 million from investors by falsely claiming that the festival was fully funded and that tickets would be refunded if the event failed. He had also created a sham, Fyre Festival LLC, bank account to launder money and misappropriated funds for personal expenses, including a $30,000 trip to a luxury resort in the Maldives and a $4,000 purchase of a custom suit. The trial, which began in July 2018, was a media spectacle. The courtroom was filled with former festival attendees, investors, and journalists who had chronicled the fiasco from the very first Instagram post. Evidence included text messages where McFarland boasted, "We're going to be the biggest thing ever," and internal emails that detailed the shortage of essential supplies. One particularly striking moment came when a former employee testified that she had warned McFarland about the lack of power generators, only to be told, "We'll figure it out on the day of." The prosecution's narrative was clear. McFarland knowingly deceived thousands of people for personal gain, with no intention of delivering the promised experience. In October 2018, after a brief deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict on all 8 counts. The judge sentenced McFarland to 6 years in federal prison, ordered restitution of $26 million, and imposed a lifetime ban on any future involvement in the promotion of securities. The sentence was later reduced by a month for good behavior, but the financial penalty remained a stark reminder of the magnitude of the fraud. McFarland's co-conspirator, Ja Rule, was acquitted of all charges, though he later faced civil lawsuits from investors and vendors. The aftermath of the Fyre Festival rippled far beyond the courtroom. The event sparked a wave of documentaries, podcasts, and viral memes, cementing its place in pop culture as the ultimate cautionary tale of influencer hype run amok. It also prompted regulatory bodies to tighten oversight on crowdfunding and ticket sales, especially for events marketed through social media. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, issued new guidelines requiring clearer disclosures of financial backing for large-scale events, and the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, increased penalties for deceptive advertising online. For the victims, restitution remains an ongoing struggle. Subscribe to The Verdict for more stories like this.